way? Only gonna have me this way? Well, I think I have something working here. Not as I planned at all. But I believe we are, yeah, we're actually live. So, hold on a second. This was not what I was planning on doing. So, I'm actually now setting up a stand. Put my phone in because for some reason it decided to take my scheduled one as a mobile live instead of an actual live, and it does not look like it will let me rotate or do anything else. Please forgive me bouncing you all over the place here. There we go. Okay, we are up and rolling. Now I just have to figure out the whole every other bit of this. I actually have my laptop just like right behind me right here. Nope. See, laptop's right behind here. Turned it around. That's kind of annoying. I got the thing up and down. And no, don't want that. Let's see. Let me go with some better sound quality here. Plug in my mic. There we go. That should make a big difference in the audio quality. So, as always, this is a third Thursday live. We're doing Q&A. I'm going to get something up here in the text box. Get people to submit their questions when they have them. Yeah, there it is. Blah, 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 privacy, blah, blah, blah. Is popping up stuff towards me. That's what I'm talking about here. Yeah, that's kind of annoying that I'm up and down like this, but I guess it is what it is. And going with the phone. Anyways, I could actually take you around the field now, which I was kind of wondering how I would do that when I was originally broadcasting from the laptop. So that's where we're at right now. So I can kind of give you a little bit of an overview of what's going on at the farm right now. Basically, it's cold out. I don't know about the rest of the country, but it has been below freezing every night for the past week and a half, and the high today was around 34. We've been pretty much consistently under the average for quite some time, so it's been getting pretty cold at night. Everything in the field that's uncovered is gone. It's all toast. Even the bunching onions I had left out there, which usually are pretty darn hardy, they're gone now. I've got stuff under cover. It's supposed to get down to 19 tonight. I think 17 tomorrow night. So we'll see how it goes. Today really didn't have any sunshine at all. So even the stuff in the high tunnels and the caterpillar tunnels, there's really no solar gain on it. So I pretty much have kept all that covered off. At least out there in the high tunnel, it's got the automated side curtain, so it'll regulate its temperature. The other caterpillar tunnels, I've got the Dutch door on it, so I can open the top part and leave the bottom part closed, and that way I can vent. When it's below freezing like this, I usually don't actually open up or uncover what's underneath it because I'm still trying to conserve the heat down there at the ground level. So let's see here. How do I operate this thing? See, I've got another cast behind me here, which I think it is kind of starting to work here. Okay, we got a question. Any tips on strawberries trying for the first time next season? The one best tip I can give with strawberries is get them planted early enough in your season to where they actually take hold and actually form. You're really looking for a ball of leaves right now about, the size of a softball. If you've just got 3 or 4 little spindly ones, kind of like what I have out in my current patch, that is not really the best thing in the world, because you're really trying to build up root and minimal crown growth at this point. And then once it gets like it is right now, where it's actually really cooled down, you want to cover them. So I've made 2 mistakes with my strawberries this year. Number one, they came in too late. I knew they were going to come in too late. Number two, I forgot they even got ordered, because the farmer I actually ordered them from, I sent an email, never heard back. So I just assumed no strawberries. I got a call, hey, come to the farmer's market this Saturday, I have your strawberries. So that was the first I knew that they were actually here. So I didn't have any of the beds prepped. I didn't have any of the area ready. And then it rained for 2 weeks afterwards. So I got them in probably a good 3 or 4 weeks late. So they are really rather spindly. I'll try to go out in the field here in a second and see what I can't do, see if we can't see some stuff out in the field and kind of see what it looks like out there. But they're way behind, and I didn't cover them either. The best tip I can give you is get them in early, give them a lot of fertilizer right at the beginning. You need to get 200 pounds of an organic fertilizer down per acre, 200-pound equivalent per acre right now, because you won't be able to get anything down in the springtime. Cover them, and then about February, maybe March, before it really starts warming up, uncover them, because you don't want to kick them too early to wake them up and get them actually starting to grow again. Because if you do that, they'll bud out too quick, and then frost damage, and you'll actually lose quite a bit of the fruit bearing flowers on the plants. You only get so many per season, and that is basically what you get. This is my second, well, I guess it'd be third year doing strawberries. Last year, horrible. The strawberries I produced were $10 a pint production wise, and we were selling for $5. So that tells you that. I actually left that batch in the ground and planted my new ones in the beds in between it, because originally I had it for U-pick, so there were space, walk paths in between that were 4 foot on center beds basically. So those are the ones that I prepped and planted the strawberries I have now into. So I hope that helps you out on that. Again, with the temperatures outside, it's been rough. I mean, last year we were still having good solid growth in the field. This year we really, pretty much everything in the field's gone. Pulled all my daikons, pulled all my turnips. Kind of take you over and show you the walk-in real quick as well. We've got a lot of the stuff stored and ready for winter, but not much. We got a decent amount of production in the field for the winter, but not as much as usual. I can't completely go in here, because if I do, we'll completely lose signal. But it's pretty darn barren, to be honest with you. I mean, we've got, let's see, those are storage turnips. These are hawker eyes. We actually cut them, top them in the field, store them unwashed. Those store for a couple months. I've got them open right now because there was a lot of moisture in there. I got 2 full bins of daikon radishes as well. They're the little mini max, so they only get about that big, and I don't know, that big around. So we got about 100 pounds of each. I do have some over here that actually still have the tops on them, which we are still currently marketing. I do have to get some more lettuce out of the ground, some other things. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty darn empty. We didn't get our cabbages out of the ground yet, and I don't know if we're going to get them or not. I got all that in about 2 weeks late. That's been the kind of the summary of my season, is I've been about 2 weeks late on darn near everything this whole entire season. So we'll see how far we can get out here with the reception. Still do have lettuce out here in the field. It is still kicking along. I have not checked it because it's been very cold. I don't want to uncover this until I have to actually harvest it. I mean, we can see just right on the edge here that, here, we'll turn you around. What was left out in the open is toast. Those are gone. I haven't looked underneath here in a while. I do have this double layered right on the edge. You're gone. Oh, and we might have made it. this stuff was kind of iffy before it got an early frost on it, and it really didn't like it. But yeah, I mean, typically this time of year, we have a lot of production still out here. Ooh, it got enough out here that it even, this is a giant winter spinach, super hardy. It got hit hard. Same thing with the lizard. That's why I was afraid of her. It's gonna jump in and out of reception and off of the Wi-Fi. Yeah, that's why I was afraid we were to lose it. Hopefully it jumped back over. So we'll see if I can get out here. Here's the strawberries. These are about half the size I'd want them. Like I said, a lot of that was just lateness on my part, and I never got them covered either, which is another problem on my part. These need a drastic amount of fertilizer and covered and weeded. So pretty much what I'm finding out more and more is I don't have the ideal setup for growing strawberries. I was doing where the white ones are. Here, going through little 18-inch paths. Oh, here's another big issue. See all this stuff? This is henbit. This is weed. So I gotta get these weeds out here because this stuff is terribly invasive in the wintertime. This is all just from last year. And it's just starting to really proliferate what I did not get cultivated out. And it's chilly out here. So we're gonna head back in for now. I think the idea with setting this up on mobile like this, because the way it was scheduled, was so I could actually get out in the field and kind of show people around and see what's going on in the field. But the season has not been very favorable for that at all. And then got a question about seed potatoes as well. I cannot remember who, somewhere out of Colorado, White Harvest, actually work with another farm, and they order them because they order them in bulk, and then the shipping gets split in between all of us that way. I want to say it was White Rock. I just got the flyer not too long ago. I'm looking it up right now. I will tell you, organic seed potato is virtually impossible to get anymore. The one place you can get it through is High Mowing, and I ordered it through them last year, and that's something I will never do again because they didn't show up until mid-April. We actually plant our potatoes here in mid-March, so you can imagine what that's like. By mid-April, it is rainy and wet, and it was like another month before I could even get them in the ground. And then when they're finished, we were harvesting potatoes in the middle of July, which, or almost August. That's just not right. That's just stupid. No, the White Rock is the type of potato. Another great place is just check out your local nurseries. Local nurseries always have potatoes. They're not going to be treated with anything because they won't sprout. Bulk, if you talk to them, sometimes you can talk them into, ordering you a couple 50-pound bags. I am really going to cut back on my potatoes this year. Like last year I did, I had 200 pounds of seed potatoes and I did 1,800 lineal bed feet, which is quite a bit, but the return on that was nothing. I got less than a pound per foot because it was so dry after we planted them. Yeah, it keeps popping up white seed potato. Let's try organic because I know they're also an organic farm. If I do find it, which I know I've got it in an email somewhere, I'll go ahead and post it on the end of this video. Because I know it's around there somewhere. But like I said, the best thing, because the main thing with seed potatoes is they're expensive to ship. So the more you can get them to come in bulk and have somebody else basically pay for the shipping or split the shipping, the cheaper they'll be. Did we get in? No, they want to message me. Let's see if it shows it. Glad I got good memory. There's a lot of digits there. Okay, let's see here. And he obviously emailed a different account is what it looks like. It's actually the guy that came and did my CNG review this year. Certified naturally grown. Oh, what was his name? A really cool guy. Basically, we walked around the field for 5 minutes and he came in here and talked my ear off for about an hour and a half. Turned me on to getting the Rogue hoe from Pro Hoe, which is a really nice heavy duty cultivating hoe. And where are we? No, it's just recent. I look at my phone, but it's pointing at me right now. Yeah, I don't see it. Emailed me 3 or 4 different times. Yeah, I'm in the right account. Where am I? I don't know. Okay. So that's basically what we're looking at right now. It's getting cold. It's going to snow. So it's about all the more I can tell you about the weather right now. We're looking at, what was that last question? Have you grown peppers before? Yes, I've grown quite a few peppers. Bell peppers, the Declaration bell peppers, the green bell peppers, nice boxy pepper, best ones to grow, at least in our region. They're the ones that have been tested out in our area. Got that through our Ag Extension office. They've done tests in the area on a bunch of different kinds, and those were the best yielders of the bunch. Good disease resistant package 2. I believe those come from Territorial, if I remember right. Also have done a lot with the jalapeno peppers, which I can grow really, really good, but nobody around here really likes them. I can grow way, way, way more than I can ever sell very, very easily and very, very quickly. The jalafuegos are the ones I've been doing because I've been looking for a big, like a big stuffing pepper, something like that. And they are close to that when you get them really good. I also did Black Magic this year as a hope to be a little bit not as hot. They turned out to be hot. I don't know if it's just my soil, but both the Jalafuego and the Black Magic or Black Beauty or whatever they were, a little gnat flying around, were just way out of the league. I mean, you could chew on the tip of it, and then after you got further than that, it was just your mouth was on fire. So with the peppers, yes, we start all of our peppers indoors. We start them 1 month before they go out in the field. So when I start my tomatoes, I start my peppers as well. Typically, I used to do them all in February, and then I'd pot up in March, and then get them out in April. I really didn't find any advantage to that because it was so cold in April, and I don't like really putting all of them into the greenhouses because of the time we do a lot of greens production, so it pretty much clogs up the greenhouse more or less, if you want to look at it that way, because I'm getting second and third cuts off of stuff, and I can't really get it out of the way because that's what we're living off of the farm until we can actually get the production from the field, which is usually mid to late April before the field really starts kicking. So this last season, I actually started all of those. It was after I got back from Belton from the Mother of News Fair in February. So I'd been late February, so I probably started those the 1st of March this year. And I started them all in 200 cell flats because it saves a lot of room, a lot of space. And then I pot them up in 250s. I found that to be the best way. So 1 month in a 200 cell flat, then about 1 month in a 50 cell flat. And that's just enough to build up enough of a root ball to actually get them out. So you have to plug that big, maybe a little plant, nothing too large. And then I get them out in the field and plant it in the field immediately. I have actually started, great thing my mom's been doing is saving all of her eggshells for me. So this is what I do every year. I'll take a cup of this, well, like a large cup, in the beds I'm planting my tomatoes and peppers in. I'll go through and sprinkle these out in the bed before I start my bed prep. So just take this and just crush it up a little bit finer than it is right now. And that's what I sprinkle in, because I do know that I do have somewhat of a calcium deficiency out here. Not a huge one. I also have, it's usually in the early calcium, because I've got all my stuff below me. Got liquid calcium here. I'm not sure if it's backwards on you and me. Nope. Looks like it's just me that's backwards. This is organic, 5%. I'll hit this once or twice when they first start fruiting, because usually earlier in the season, when they first start fruiting, the calcium's just not available enough. The colder soil temperatures don't really allow it to push through. So that's when I start seeing the blossom end rot. The peppers show it heavy the most, and that's out there in that main production area, actually out past where the strawberries were. So that area has not been fully amended and worked as much as everything else. The front garden area is the beds up front, where I've got the main market garden area. That is pretty thoroughly amended. Got soil test back this year. I am low on, my pH is low out there, which I find kind of odd, because the other areas, basically from where the high tunnel is back to the north, I amended them the exact same way, exact same product, and they actually have a little bit high of pH in those ones. I'm kind of honestly wondering if some of that doesn't have to do with the fertilizer I was using. I was using the Dr. Earth's Organic, which make sure you get the one that's OMRI certified, because there's one that's not, and that's why I can't be purely organic certified this year. That's a whole different story. Knockoff bags, I don't know where they were from, sold. The company that sold them is out of business, so I really can't do anything about it. But then out in the other ones, I've been using Nature Safe 855, and it seems to either is buffering my pH and moving it back down because it's got more lime in it, or not lime, sulfur in it, or the pH just didn't go up enough. I really don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. I do know I have to amend a bunch of calcium this year, so I shouldn't probably have to worry that much. And I'm probably going to bring my tomatoes and peppers back up into the main market garden area instead of out in the big acreage where all the tractor work and everything's done. That's a whole different situation on that, mainly lack of labor. When there's only one of you, you can only do so much. So that's pretty much where that's at. So, do we have any more questions? It's getting to be around the 5:30 mark, and I am ready to eat dinner for the night. It's getting to be about that time right now because we're at 5 o'clock. We usually 5:30 is when we eat. Sun's going down right now, and I open up the door right now. It'll be pitch black out there. So it looks like you're in Southwest Michigan. Very low pH, very sandy. And sold at the farmer's market first season this past year. Oh, good job. I mean, that's the main trick is just getting to your farmer's market, finding out what they want, and then you get to fine tune your plan for next year. Um, Another great thing is when you're at the farmer's market, have a sign up sheet for emails, whether it's through POS, like we use Shopify POS, and you can enter emails and ask them directly, or have them write it down. That way, you can send people surveys, which not a lot of people love doing. But if you attach a discount somehow that they can use for taking it, like use it in Airtable or something, then you'll get their feedback. I found out this year, which I pretty much already knew, is that nobody likes okra. And what was the other one? Arugula surprised me because that's usually a pretty good seller. And the other one is, oh, Brussels sprouts. That's everybody's hated vegetable, but I've never been able to grow them successfully. So they've never bought them from me, which is really, really kind of funny. I find that very comical, basically, because we're mainly greens production. That's where our bread and butter is. And then the cherry tomato production. Really, really wanting to, I hate to say branch out too much, but I had cantaloupes this year that were really awesome. Heirloom seed from a relative I never met down in Kentucky that just he sent them to me out of the blue last year. I didn't grow them last year, grew them this year. Beautiful little random skin cantaloupes, about that big around. Super easy, nothing to it. Super disease resistant. I think I had one plant drop out of all of them. I planted them really late in the season too. It was almost July before I planted them. And you say you have sandy soil as well. I would not know anything about that because we have heavy, heavy clay. Stuff turns to concrete when it goes dry. You can't work it. You basically, like even the greenhouses, that's why I'm setting up overhead irrigation in all of them. A couple videos ago, well, it's been quite a few, maybe a month or two ago, set up the irrigation in the caterpillar tunnel. I've got 2 more rigs put up. I've got the other caterpillar tunnel that was full of tomatoes to do, and then also the big high tunnel. I got 2 runs that are going down there. Dealt with diseases, and I really haven't dealt with any soil diseases here. Get some lettuce drop, and that's really about it. I keep everything rotating enough. Will not plant solanaceas in the same spot for 3 years. The one thing I've heard about treating disease, and not necessarily tomato disease, but other disease like lettuce drop and sclerotinia and some other lettuce diseases, is you basically, what do they call it? Biofumigation. Basically what you do is you go through and you do a deep till on the bed. So you're talking 6-8 inches deep. And then you layer 8 to 10 inches of wet, fresh grass clippings on top. And then you tarp it. The grass clippings will immediately go hot. They'll start to, heater just kicked on. Okay, that's the turbo tube heater right there. Use that to keep this place warm and the greenhouse warm as well when it gets close to season. But anyways, no, you cover it with a tarp, and the grass clippings go hot because they'll start composting immediately. They'll heat up to 130, 150, 100, I don't even know how high. Not enough to combust, but they will get hot. And then you let that break down for 2 weeks, untarp it, and then you till that whatever's left back in. And supposedly that does the trick. Heard this from Ray Tyler. He's used it on his farm in a couple different instances where he had real bad disease pressure in beds from just not rotating greens, because they do greens so consistently and so many repeated applications. I try to avoid that here. I've got the 2 main field blocks, one here and one here. So one season will be greens and radishes, and I'll turn those and move them throughout the season. The other one will be my fruiting vegetable things that are there more permanently through the season, and those are just basically planted out and they're there. Then I'll do basically a spring and then a fall, and over here I'll do this, and then the next year I'll swap. So I'm really moving those back and forth. And then also as well, I'm paying attention to where, if I'm putting solanaceous or something out there, if they're in this half of the block or this half of the block, and I rotate those, swap, but I have basically have 4 quadrants to work with as well. And I also do all my tomatoes, basically all my field tomatoes and the peppers and everything are in the greenhouse. So I'm rotating those through the greenhouses every single season because I've got 3 of them now set up to where I'd like to have a fourth to have a 4-year rotation, but I don't, so I don't. Um, but I'll do tomatoes, and then the next year I'll do cucumbers, and the year after that I will use it for just purely greens. I also try to push through a production of greens before each of those crops, which might or might not be phasing out this year, so I can get my tomatoes and cucumbers in earlier to get earlier production. I always find trying to intercrop everything in there, it just makes a mess and things just get out of hand and they get too wild. And then by the time you're done, you're spending more effort than you need to, basically. It's too much labor involved. Where if I could just say, this is only going to be greens and these other 2 I can plant in the fall and have greens production in them, cool. But during the spring, this one's going to sit here until I plant my tomato plants in the ground. I might string some lettuce along the edge of them while the tomatoes are establishing and peppers and things, but I'm not going to play, oh, I've got 4 rows of lettuce here and I'm going to plant these tomatoes in between them all the way down the bed because it's not cool. And then cropping it out is a pain in the butt too because you got to crop around all your tomato plants. So a lot to it when it comes down to it. Okay, so we passed 5:30 mark, and I think I'm gonna wrap this baby up. Again, every third Thursday we're gonna be doing this. I would like to look and see when the next one will occur. Let's see. Let's look at the calendar for December. We are looking at December 16th will be the next third Thursday. It'll be Christmas time by then. I have a feeling the way the season's going and the way the temperatures are going that there'll be no production left on this farm. So I'll actually get some much needed rest, which will be awesome. I haven't had a really good rest in quite some time. Last year we sold all the way through the season and I had help then. And this year all my help is basically gone. And everybody I've hired, all 6 of them, have left me. So it'll be interesting to see how I scale the farm this year. You'll just have to really kind of pay attention. I think I'll be really discussing that more than anything. I'm really working on a way to quantify time by the crop and the amount of crop that I'm planting and do it like per bed. So if I say I plant a bed of radishes, that's an hour out of my week. A bed of lettuce, that's another hour and a half out of my week, including post harvest and cropping out and all that. And once I hit a certain number of hours in the week, nothing else gets planted. I just work with what I've got, or I completely drop something to keep it. No more of this 60, 80-hour work weeks for me. It's just not in the cards. Now, if I have help and I'm only doing part of that 60 to 80 hours a week, which is our typical labor run during the summer, then that's great. But I think I'm going to go more towards the 30 to 40 hours a week. And then if I can find help, that's less that I have to do, and I can focus on other things I need to focus on that have really gotten out of hand here. But anyways, I'll see you all here. Looks like December 16th. I'll set it up, and hopefully I can do it to where I'm on the computer or something, instead of this silly phone sitting sideways in front of me. I hope the audio quality is good. I've got a new microphone I've been using, which is pretty darn cool. And then building a vacuum seeder, great, awesome. They're the best thing in the world. The one thing I have not quite figured out is to get the metal plate to glue to the plastic box. It separates on me. I've tried tape, I've tried caulking, I've tried epoxy, I've tried everything. It just ends up falling back apart. I finally, at the end of the season, I just got my tape that I mark all my boxes with, and I just retape it every week. I just finally gave up on it just because I was, I need to use the darn thing. So, as always, ArkenbergFarms.com. Scroll down the bottom. Got digital tools and training down there. I'm also setting up consulting times for, well, I will be for the Mother Earth News Fairs I'm going to be out on this year. While I'm there, might as well do some live consulting with people on the farm. Also, anybody wants to do one-on-one consulting as well, you can set up consulting hours on there. Most of them are about an hour, probably 2 half-hour sessions. We can deep dive into what your issues are and really, really discuss thoroughly. I'll record more information beforehand from you through different forms to fill out, so I can be really precise on what you're doing and what I believe would be the best thing to help you out. I mean, I've had many consultants. I've done soil, I've done farm, and yeah, actually 2 different farm consultants. So they're very, very helpful, very, very worth the money. And I believe I could be a pretty good help now. So again, hope you all like what you saw today. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit your notifications, do all that fun stuff. And thank y'all. Have a good day.